Would a caveman start a war because somebody stole his favorite rock? Maybe. But the real answer is much stranger than one angry guy yelling beside a campfire while pointing at a suspiciously shiny pebble. When people imagine prehistoric humans, they often picture simple lives. A cave, a fire, a few wooden spears, a confused mammoth walking past like it accidentally joined the wrong documentary. It feels almost peaceful. No kings, no borders, no flags, no generals, no giant maps with dramatic arrows, no one standing on a hill saying, "My friends, tomorrow we invade the berry patch." So it is tempting to think war came later. Maybe after farming, maybe after villages, maybe after someone invented property, taxes, and the ancient version of a neighborhood dispute. But archaeology whispers something uncomfortable. Long before written history, long before armies marched in straight lines, humans were already living in groups. And once humans form groups, they also form one tiny powerful idea. Us and them, that little mental switch, may be one of the oldest sparks in human conflict. Let's travel back roughly 10,000 years. Near Lake Turkana in Kenya, archaeologists found a place called Nataruk. It was not a battlefield with helmets, metal swords, and dramatic background music. It was quieter than that. Bones in ancient lake sediments, a frozen moment from a world before cities. The people found there were hunter-gatherers. They moved through the landscape, followed food, fished, shared resources, watched the weather, and tried very hard not to become lunch for something with bigger teeth. But many of the remains showed signs of violent death. Some injuries looked like blows from clubs. Others suggested sharp weapons. Some bodies were not carefully buried. The scene looked less like a normal burial and more like a sudden attack. That is where the mystery becomes serious. If these people were not defending castles, guarding farms, or protecting a kingdom, why would another group attack them? The old explanation was simple. War began when humans settled down. Farming created food stores created jealousy. Jealousy created raiding. Raiding created war. That idea still makes sense. If one village has grain and another village is hungry, trouble can walk in holding a spear. But Nataruk complicates the story. These people may have been foragers, yet their lakeshore world was valuable. Water mattered, fish mattered, safe camps mattered, a good place to rest mattered, a place where food could be gathered again and again mattered. And if food could be stored, even in simple containers, then suddenly a camp was not just a camp. It was a prize. Imagine two small groups meeting near a rich lake. One group thinks, "This is our place." The other group thinks, "Funny, we were just about to say that. Nobody needs a crown for that to become dangerous. Nobody needs a national anthem. Nobody even needs a flag." Although, knowing humans, someone probably would have tried waving a dramatic leaf. Sometimes all it takes is hunger, fear, memory, and a few people deciding that the strangers over there are a threat. But here is the important part. This does not mean prehistoric humans were constantly fighting. They were not cartoon monsters with clubs looking for weekend violence. They also cooperated. They cared for children. They shared food. They made tools. They learned from each other. They watched the stars. They told stories. They probably laughed when someone slipped in mud, because some human traditions are clearly immortal. Human beings are not only aggressive, we are deeply social. That is what makes the question so interesting. War may not be the opposite of cooperation. War may be the dark shadow of cooperation. To protect us, humans can become dangerous to them. That is a very human problem. A lone person is vulnerable. A group can survive. A group can hunt better, protect children better, remember dangerous places better, and share skills better. But a group can also become suspicious together. Fear spreads faster when everyone is watching everyone else. One worried face becomes 10 worried faces. One bad memory becomes a warning story. One warning story becomes a rule. One rule becomes, do not trust those people beyond the river. And just like that, survival wisdom can turn into tribal fear. Another clue comes from Jebel Sahaba, an ancient cemetery in the Nile Valley. For a long time, people wondered if it showed one big prehistoric battle, but newer analysis suggests something more complicated, not one clean war scene. More like repeated episodes of violence over time. That picture feels less like a giant war movie, and more like a long neighborhood feud. Except the neighborhood had stone tools, harsh climate, hungry groups, and no emergency hotline. This matters because prehistoric conflict probably did not always look like modern war. There may have been no generals, no uniforms, no marching drums, no one drawing a perfect battle plan in the dirt and saying, "At sunrise, we attack from the left flank." Some conflicts may have been raids, ambushes, revenge attacks, fights over water, fights over food, fights after someone from one group harmed someone from another. Small groups can carry big memories, and in a world without police, courts, written treaties, or customer service, revenge could become a terrible kind of law. So did prehistoric humans have war? The honest answer is yes, in some places and in some forms. But not always the way we imagine war today. Prehistoric war was probably not always armies crashing into armies. It could be small-scale, sudden, personal, and tied to survival. It could happen between groups that knew the same landscape, wanted the same resources, and feared the same future. Now comes the cognitive twist. The first war may not have begun when humans became advanced. It may have begun because humans were already extremely human. We could remember who helped us. We could remember who hurt us. We could recognize faces. We could form alliances. We could protect children. We could plan. We could gossip. We could tell a story around a fire and make everyone feel the same fear. Those abilities helped us survive. They also made organized violence possible. A wolf can bite you. A storm can destroy your shelter. A drought can empty your river. But humans can do something more complicated. Humans can build a story about why another group deserves to be feared. And once that story spreads, it can become stronger than hunger. It can become identity. It can become our people are good, their people are dangerous. That ancient software still runs in modern heads. Today, most of us are not fighting over a fishing spot beside a prehistoric lake. We fight over opinions, teams, status, identity, money, attention, land, history, and invisible lines on maps. But the pattern feels familiar. My group is reasonable. Your group is suspicious. My side is defending itself. Your side is causing trouble. My tribe is normal. Your tribe clearly does not understand proper rock ownership. That last part may be ancient. The tools changed. The instinct did not disappear. A wooden spear became a metal sword. A sword became a gun. A campfire rumor became a speech. A painted symbol became a flag. A frightened story became a political slogan. A small fear became a big machine. But underneath all of it, the brain keeps asking old survival questions. Are they safe? Can we trust them? Are they one of us? Those questions once helped humans survive in dangerous landscapes. If a stranger appeared near your camp, your brain did not have hours to write a balanced academic essay about social cooperation. It had to decide quickly, safe or dangerous, friend or threat, share food or guard food. Fast decisions can save lives. They can also create terrible mistakes, because the stranger may be dangerous. Or the stranger may simply be hungry, tired, and also afraid of you. That is the tragedy hidden inside the story of prehistoric war. Two frightened groups can look at each other, and both feel like they are the ones defending life. Each side can think it is protecting children, protecting food, protecting memory, protecting the future, and if fear wins, both sides become more dangerous than they were before. But the hopeful twist is that the same human brain can choose differently. The brain that divides groups can also build bridges between groups. The humans who fought also traded. The humans who feared strangers also learned from strangers. The humans who protected their own children could sometimes cooperate with people outside the group. A stranger could become an ally. An ally could become family. A shared meal could become peace. That is why the story of prehistoric war is not only a story about violence, it is a story about choice. Our ancestors carried both possibilities. The ability to attack and the ability to cooperate. Civilization did not magically remove the ancient tribe inside us. It gave that tribe bigger tools, bigger crowds, bigger stories, and occasionally much worse meeting schedules. So when we ask, did prehistoric humans have war? We are really asking something deeper. Was war invented by civilization? Or did civilization inherit a very old human problem and dress it in newer clothes? Maybe the first battlefield was not a kingdom, a border, or a city wall. Maybe it was a moment beside water. One frightened group looked at another frightened group and thought, they are the problem. And maybe the most important question is not whether ancient humans had war. Maybe the real question is this. If that ancient switch still exists inside us today, how much of modern conflict is truly modern?